Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. This is Move Easy Yoga online. Yeah, and it is August 20th, 2020. I'm going to start in the ordinary fashion, lying on your back. I'm the model today because I'm sick. And so you're going to have to, usually I'm not the model, I'm the student model. You're going to have to put up with me moving my computer so you can see me and all of that. So you're going to start lying on your back. You may want to put something under your head. The other thing I'm working with is a PA system. Oops. What's that? How am I going to fix that? I don't know. Whoops. Hold on. How do I avoid that?
I think you might just need to turn the sound down a little bit.
On the volume.
Yeah. Not too much.
Okay, well, I'm turning it down and we'll see if that helps. Lie on your back, everybody. Bent knees. So supine, you may want to put a towel or a stack of washcloths under your head, especially if your neck is tight. And the first thing we're going to do is just come into the room. So start to notice your breath. If you can't see me, tell me and I'll make an adjustment. Just watching your breath. Thinking about why you're here, how you got here, why you got here. If you have a mantra or sankalpa, you could say it now. If you want to, you can bring your knees together and your feet a little farther apart, releasing the psoas. Just watching your breath, native breath. And then bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers or stack your hands for vagus nerve reset. If you can't hear me, you're going to have to tell me so I can make some adjustments on the mic or where I am in relationship to the computer. So with your hands behind your head and not moving any except your eyeballs, just shift your eyeballs to the right and wait for a yawn, sigh, swallow, or gulp. Resetting the vagus nerve and moving it to the relaxing, healing, restoring side of the nervous system. If you're just learning the vagus nerve reset, you may not get a yawn, sigh, swallow, or gulp, but you will if you practice. Come back to center. Shift your eyeballs. Your eyes can be open or closed. Shift your eyeballs to the left. Waiting for a yawn, sigh, swallow, or gulp. Moving the optical nerve like this, moving the eyeballs moves the optical nerve, and this resets the vagus nerve. Come on back. Do this 2 more times without my cueing. So right, left, right, left. Take your time. Finish up, come back to center. Leave your hands where they are. We're going to do some cervical work. I call it head ramping. Katie Bowman calls it head ramping. You're going to press the occipital ridge, the base of the back of the skull, into your hands and hold for a couple breaths. And then release. And repeat that about 4 more times. Just pressing the back of the ridge, the occipital ridge, into your hands on the floor. I think we got everybody in. This is if you have forward head or text neck issues from slumping over a computer or a cell phone. If you have it bad, you may want to do this move every hour during your day. You could do it lying down, or you can do it seated or standing. The important thing is to be aware of the movement that happens at the back of the skull, not at the chin actually drops because you moved your skull. Go ahead and finish up. And then bring your hands down along your side of your hips. We're going to do rib cage breathing. You can put your hands in an L shape and wrap them around the bottom of your rib cage. Thumbs down, fingers up. Take an inhale. The inhale expands the rib cage. You can feel that. That's what your hands are there for. And then exhale, and everything comes back to its original shape. Inhale. Expand the rib cage side to side and back to front. Big expansion. And then an exhale. I have been hearing that some of the nurses are teaching their COVID patients ribcage breathing. One of the reasons we always have a breathing segment here is because we're in COVID season, and breath and strong lungs and strong, healthy respiratory system is important. For those of you who came in late, Kathy is sick today, so I'm the student model. Be patient with me. Bring your hands. We're going to do several hypopressive movements for core and pelvic floor work. And we're going to do, the first one we're going to do, first start with your knees bent and your feet dorsiflex, toes toward the ceiling, heels on the floor. Bring your arms up as if you're hugging a tree, up in front of your chest and armpits. And then flip your hands so they're facing the ceiling. And now activate your arms and shoulders by pressing the scapula into the floor and the hands toward the ceiling. We're going to do 3 breaths, ordinary breaths, and then make sure the third breath actually expels all the air you have. And then we'll hold the breath and count to 10. So inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath, inhale. And exhale. Hold your breath out. No breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go ahead and shake your hands and relax your hands. Extend your legs. I think I'm in a position I'm going to have to go farther up so you can see my legs. Not sure. Now we're going to do another hypopressive with extended legs. So your legs are extended, your arms, well, first of all, legs are extended, and then the right ankle comes over the left ankle. Your arms come up first to your chest, and then the left hand stacks on top of the right hand. And now bring your arms overhead, wrist with your wrists stretching, and straight arms if possible. We're going to do 3 breaths and then no breath for 10 counts. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last breath, inhale and exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. Spread your rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go ahead and release that, undo that, and switch sides. So the left ankle is over the right ankle. The arms come up and stack the right, left, right, yeah, the opposites. So the right hand is on top of the left hand. Then arms overhead by the ears, straight arms. Breathing, 3 breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. Spread your rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And just release everything and stay here. We're going to do a side lying series. I want to check in with you and see if people can hear me. Can people hear me? Tell them, someone has to say something in chat or otherwise.
Sounds great.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Does the speaker work? Good. We're going to do.
That sounds really good.
So I think I'm hearing it's okay. Let's do the side lying series. So you're going to have a large brick or something, a blanket, under your head. You're lying on your side. Knees are bent. Shoulders are stacked. You don't have to see my knees because it's all all in the shoulders right now. I'm going to take my glasses off, which distorts everything for me. Okay. So shoulders stacked, hips stacked, knees stacked, ankles stacked. You want a brick of some sort because you want enough room between your the bottom shoulder so that you can stack that shoulder directly underneath the other shoulder. Bring your top arm out in front of you, parallel. Your other arm can be doing whatever. And then from the scapula, the top scapula, you're going to move the scapula away from the spine. So that's called a protraction. Your arm goes forward, but it didn't do it by itself. The scapula moved it. And then you come back. It's called retraction. So I want you to do this about 6 times. Protraction. Well, remember, this is a scapular movement. It's not an arm movement. The arm moves because of the movement in the scapula. Just be aware of your breath and your movement. I didn't know I was going to be a student teacher until just before class. If I forget something or you need to say something, I'm not near the computer most of the time. So you need to unmute and say something to communicate with me. Last one. We're going to say on this side, do all of the movements, 6 movements on this side, and then 6 on the other side. So this one is called sunrise, sunset. The arm just goes up to the ceiling, straight up, and come back down. You may want to assign a breath. So inhaling maybe up and exhaling down, or exhaling up and inhaling down. Just assign a breath so that you become aware of the movement and the breath. And think of what's happening on the inside of the body at the glenohumeral joint. This is mainly an arm bone movement. There's a little bit of scapula involved. It is lateral abduction and adduction for those who are anatomy geeks. But you don't have to know that. You don't have to know the anatomy terms for it to be effective. Do 2 more. Think of what's happening here in the glenohumeral joint. This is the last one. Now bring your arm up. We're going to do an internal and external rotation. I think I need for you to see my arm, the top of my arm. So if I push the screen back a little bit, I think that'll happen. Pretty much. So I like to put my hand here so I can feel the arm bone internally rotating, which is coming forward, and then externally rotating backward. The trick is to have the movement happen at the arm bone, at the glenohumeral joint, not at the elbow or the wrist. If you want to make a fist, that will help. So you're internally rotating, the arm bone comes forward in the glenohumeral joint, and then externally rotating, it goes backwards. Really important movement that we can lose if we don't use it. Do it about 4 more times. Breathing. Becoming aware of what's happening inside of the body. We can call this yoga, even if it's not a vinyasa flow practice, because we're moving with awareness and breath. The third movement, let's see, maybe this is the third. Yeah, I did this, and this. That was the third. Those are triplets. We're going to do 3 more, another triplet. So just bring your arm down. I brought mine down, but I didn't cue you to bring yours down. Okay. Just goes to show you I'm not totally used to this being the teacher model. The next thing we're going to do is, we're going to do technical snow angels, I call them. So the first thing you want to do, your arm is by your hip, palm down, but you want to externally rotate it as far as you can go. We're just doing this, right? As far as you can go. And now bring it overhead. Slowly overhead. This is the snow angel part. Slowly overhead by the ear, as far as you can come. Some of you won't be able to come as far as I am. When you get here, I'm going to scoot down. When you get here, go ahead and change the internal rotation to a different level. It's a little bit less internally rotated. The hand is facing forward. And now you come back down. So this is the downward motion. It affects my heart rate monitor. And then you externally rotate again to the second level. And then the arm comes up. Remember breathing and being aware of both your movement and your breath. And then back you go.
You got frozen.
There's a message there on my machine. I hope it's not that my internet is unstable. Do this slowly. Remember that if you're going to teach the brain anything about your body, you have to move slowly and with awareness so that the brain picks it up. I think this is the last one. Internal, external rotation of the arm bone. Now let's go ahead and move right into shoulder circles. One of my favorites. Just bring your arm behind you. No need to cue the placement of the arm because the arm can only go when it circles like this. It can go only one way. Arm comes behind you. It comes up by your ear, and it comes forward, and then back again. Slowly. This is circumduction. The head of the arm bone is moving in all of its possible directions of movement. I think we have some new people here, so welcome, new students, new and old. I'm so far away from the computer, I can't tell you how many of us there are today, but I think it's about 12. Do one more circle in this direction. And then reverse your direction. Your bottom arm can be wherever it's comfortable. Check your shoulders and see if they're stacked. I'm gonna make mine, adjust mine a little bit. So remember, you don't want to move the shoulder back like this. This is what not to do. That's a perfectly good stretch, but it's not. I'm asking you to just use the arm bone to do the movement, not open the chest. So I'm lost. So I think I'm finished. The The last of this shoulder set on this side is called flying pizza. Your elbow is at your waist, tucked in, doesn't move. And the forearm is forward, palm down. And then you bring the arm back, forearm straight back. But as you bring it back, you open up the palm so that by the time you're back straight up to the ceiling, your palm is facing your ear. When you come back, you do the same thing. The forearm comes back and the wrist actually twists and moves. So this is both a movement for the rotator cuff and a wrist movement. Back you go. Add a breath, add breath awareness. You're always breathing. We get the pizza idea more as we were standing, but you could do this standing. Should feel it in the back of the scapula. One more. That is 6 movements for the shoulder and arm and shoulders. And we're going to go to the other side. So just flip to the other side. We'll see what I can do over here. Same thing. Stack your shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. First, I think I'm going to change my shape a little bit because my arm was directly in front of my face. Okay, so the top arm out. So this is scapular protraction and retraction. All of the movement, think of the movement as coming from the scapula. So you can see what my children meant about racy. They said my top was racy. Oops, pardon me. I didn't know till the last minute I was going to be a model. So arm comes out because the scapula came away from the spine. Scapula moves towards the spine, that's called retraction. The arm moves because the scapula moves. It doesn't move of its own accord. It's not doing the moving, it's doing the following. It's the follower, not the leader. This is a movement that we lose. A lot of these movements are little teeny movements that we lose. We stop doing because we hurt ourselves or for any other number of reasons, and then we lose them. So we'll do one more, protraction and retraction. Now, sunrise, sunset. My arm goes out of the camera view, but we'll come back in. Lateral abduction and adduction. Another important movement of the arm bone in the glenohumeral joint. Slowly, you can even close your eyes, become aware of what's happening to the arm bone while it moves in the glenohumeral joint. Let's do one more. I'm still not at a perfect angle because my hand comes in front of my face when I come down. Oh well, now the arm goes up. We're going to do the internal and external rotation of the arm bone in the glenohumeral joint. I like to put my hand here because I can feel what's happening. Oh, I want to change this so you see my hand. Doesn't matter if you see the bottom half of my body. So basically from the arm joint, shoulder joint, you're going to internally rotate That's internal rotation. And then externally rotate, go back. So come forward and then go backward. External rotation. You may or may not have your personal level of external rotation and internal rotation is, is for you. It may not look exactly like mine. Go ahead and make a fist. That can help you keep this out of the wrist and elbow. So you go forward, internal rotation, and backward, external rotation. And add a breath or add awareness of breath. And think of what's happening at the joint, at this very important joint. Very shallow joint, by the way. Lots of shoulder injuries, but they're pretty easy to heal with movement. Be sure and check out this class before you have a surgical solution to your shoulder issues. Not that that might have to happen, but sometimes not. So that was the last of the first three, the triplets. Protraction, sunrise, sunset, and internal and external rotation. Those are a triplet, a triplet of movements. Now we're going to do three more. The first thing you're going to do is take your arm down here. This is snow angels, or half snow angels. First thing you're going to do with your arm at your side, at your hip, is externally rotate as far as you can. Palm comes up to the ceiling because of the external rotation at the shoulder. And then the arm comes up by the ear. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Maybe not as far as this. When you get to the top of your range of motion with your straight arm at your ear, then go ahead and reduce the external rotation slightly. So the palm is forward. Now come back down. 2 different degrees of external rotation. When you get down, your arm gets down to the hip, externally rotate as far as you can go. Bring it back up by the ear or near the ear. May not be as far as this for you. Now, slightly reduce the external rotation so the palm is facing the forward, and then bring your arm back down to the hip. Just do that about 4 more times. Just slowly with awareness. Technical snow angels. The technical part is the way you place your arm for the movement up and the movement down. That's the technical part. I think we have 2 more to go. When I first started teaching Pilates, I see all these teachers, they're counting for their students. And I said, how do you do that? And they said, well, if you lose track, you just say, and you want to finish up, you just say 2 more. 2 more. So now you know the tricks of the trade. Okay, done with that. Now just bring your arm back behind you for a shoulder circle. I am probably going to bump into some things here, so I'm going to move myself. But just keep going on your circle. We're going backwards. We started backwards. I feel like this brick is a little bit too high for me. Maybe a little smaller brick would be better for me. Or maybe something halfway between a big and a small brick, but that's not available. I think that's better. You still have to move it a bit. Pull my shirt up a little bit. Oops. Keep the shoulders stacked. And then reverse your direction. One more circle. Bring your hands, arm back along the side of your body. Bend the elbow. Tuck the elbow into the waist and keep it there. The forearm comes forward, palm parallel to the floor. Palm down, forearm parallel to the floor. Now you're going to take the forearm back. Keep the elbow tucked in. Goes back up. And then your wrist moves so that by the time you get up here, you're facing the ear. Your palm is facing the ear. So the arm moves back and forth between those 2 points, and the wrist moves. And actually the bones in the forearm move as you're moving. Palm down, palm facing the ear, palm down. You should feel this in the, if your shoulders are stacked, your hips are stacked, your elbows tucked in, you should feel this in the upper back. And breathing, and you could inhale up and exhale down, or exhale up and inhale down. Just a sign of breath to a move. Great to rebuild, restore, or maintain rotator cuff stability and strength and mobility. One more. We're done with that series. Come up to floor seated, your favorite floor seated position. I'm going to switch to here, I think. You guys have made me self-conscious about my shirt. My children. Okay, so I need to check in with the time. Yes, I do. I wanted to show you something that I showed you last time as we were leaving. Maybe it was even in the after party. But someone asked about arms, flabby arms. And it came to mind, there are lots of things to do for flabby arms, but usually what I do is some small weights, and like this, with some small weights, or this. But this famous actress whose name escapes me, did this. And I think it's very interesting, and I think it's worth doing. So let's do 40 of these. All you do is put your arms out and then pump them a little bit. So you're sitting tall in your favorite floor-seated position, which is a hip opener of some sort, as you know, as most of you know. And then here you are. So good posture, and then just I'm not counting. I guess I should be counting. No, I think I'll do a minute of this instead of counting, because I don't think I can count and think about all of this. We're going to do a minute and a half and hope that that's some goodly amount. When I was at one point taking, this is for a PV, a local store color. I was taking a Tracy Anderson course down at Yoga Varda, and I think we did this every class. I don't know whether it helped, but I think it's an interesting thing you could do. You could do it while you're sitting, watching TV, maybe floor seated, watching TV. We have 40 seconds left. If I had known my arms were so flabby, I wouldn't have done this for you. I'm doing it anyway. Yeah, the problem with flabby arms, not only the flab, but you can't really see them. So then, then you look in the mirror and then you're like, oh, I better do something about this. And it is muscles, so we can do something about it. Go ahead and stop. That was a bonus. That's not in the class. We're going to do some floor seated position. The first thing we're going to do, floor seated, is shoulder clams. So I'm seated. I guess maybe it might have. I'm going to have to. I want you to see me. I want you to see my legs, and maybe I just have to come back here a little bit. Clams. So I'm cross-legged. That's my favorite floor-seated position. But you could be like this. Z. This is like the Z. I call it knee Z. You could be here on your heels. That's another floor-seated position. There's a number of these. That's a couple of them. So I'm here cross-legged. And maybe you want to sit, if you have hip issues, if you have issues in a floor-seated position, issues where your shoulders round, you might want to sit on a brick to keep your hips up a little higher. It actually helps with your posture. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do, whoops, it doesn't seem to need to, okay. Bring your arms up, whoops. Your hands, the first thing you're going to do is interlace your fingers and make a little hole in your hands and then press the palms together. And now you're going to bring your elbows up above your chin, at your chin level or higher, but no lower. And imagine you have a balloon, imaginary balloon between your elbows. You're going to deflate it and then inflate it or allow it to inflate. Shoulder clamps, I call these shoulder clamps. And then again. And then, so you're opening and closing with resistance. So this is more isometric because you're imagining and creating the resistance with your imagination. If you want to, you can bring your elbows higher and experiment with that. All of this, I'll keep doing it. I'm going to show you where it helps. It helps with tension in the upper back and shoulders, upper traps. This is a Ki-Hara resistance stretch. There goes Frida. just licking my knee. And just do 2 more. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Should feel this in the upper back. The next floor seated position we're going to do is Saturday Night Fever. So these are a series, a triplet of Ki-Hara resistance stretches. You're going to start with your hand, your right hand on your left knee and your left hand on your right wrist. This is where the resistance is happening. So in Ki-Hara, you're always moving and always resisting. So I'll show you the trajectory. So you're going to bring your right arm up by your ear and then back down to your knee. But there's resistance that's happening here. So starting with your hand on your knee, and the left hand on, creating resistance for the upward movement. So the left hand is resisting the upward movement of the right arm. When you get here, you may want to pull your arm out of the socket a little bit to allow for the return. So now the top hand is winning, the bottom arm is resisting. Your torso is forward still, so the only thing that's diagonal is your arm. Now, when you come down to the bottom, you can stop for a pause and drop your left ear to your left shoulder just for a neck stretch. Come on back up, bring your head back up, and then bring your arm back up. So this is called Saturday Night Fever. Don't ask me why. Pull, yeah, it's a little yank, not a big yank, and then come on down. This time, the top arm wins, the top hand wins, but the bottom arm resists. When you get down to the bottom, drop your ear to the left, just for a neck stretch. Return your head to center, and then come on back up. It's not very much, because you still want to keep moving, because you're doing a Ki-Hara resistance stretch, always moving, always resisting the movement. Do a couple more of these. Breath. Should feel a really nice stretch across the back and the arm, upper arm. Other side, left hand on the left knee. The right hand is on the top of the left wrist. So remember, you're coming up, you're resisting. The top hand is resisting the upward movement of the bottom arm. When you come up here, pull a little bit. Bring the shoulder out and make room for the downward movement. Your breasts and your belly button are still facing forward. Oh, I forgot this movement. When you're down at the bottom, you can drop your head just for a neck stretch. Bring it back up and bring your arm back up. This time, the straight arm is winning. The top hand is resisting. Lift and come back down. So do this about 4 more times. Back and forth you go. Don't forget the head stretch, neck stretch. And down you go. Stretch your neck. Bring it back. Come on up. Always feeling resistance. 1 more. Down you go. Drop your neck, your head. And bring it back up, and then bring your arm back up. Very nice. The next one we're going to do is a deltoid resistance stretch. I'm going to bring this up. Whoops. Maybe there. See, I would If I did this all the time, I guess I would get used to these adjustments that Kathy does. So you're going to start with your arm here, almost, so the arm is forward, tucked into the waist, but you're going to move it. This hand is on top of the outside of the bent arm, the right arm, and you're going to move to here. That's all you're going to do, back and forth. So as you move your right arm up, free to get out of the way, the left arm is resisting the movement. And as you come back down and the left hand is winning, the right arm is resisting the downward movement. So in Ki-Hara, always resisting and always moving. The benefits of a Ki-Hara practice is that you're developing both strength and flexibility or mobility in the movement. So while you're going down, this is the stretch side of the movement, and then when you're coming up, this is the strength side of the movement. You can feel it. You should be able to feel it right up here in the deltoid stretch. Don't hurt yourself. Don't let your resistance be so hard that you hurt yourself, or that it's more like a dance. You should feel the resistance, but it's not like a big battle. Let's do the other side. Left hand out, resistance here, up you go. That's for strength. Down you go for stretch. Up, down. 4 more times. Two more times. And that's about it. Stay here. Come into a cross-legged position. We're going to do a side bend, a floor-seated side bend. We're going to start with the right arm. Put your left hand on the floor. Bring your right arm up and over. Keep your hips on the floor. You can bring this arm out a little farther. You didn't know you're going to have a cat yoga today. Arm overhead. You bring this arm out. So the idea is to have a stretch on this side and a crunching the spine on this side. I think if we timed this, it would be bone building, but we're not timing it. Bring it up, center, switch sides, right arm on the floor, left arm up and over. Whoops, I forgot one thing I'll add here in the next set. Keep your hips on the block or the floor. Come on back up. Now I'll add it this time. So we're going to do both. Really, when you're side bending like this, one of the things you're working on is the QL, a muscle that's right here between the rib cage and the pelvis. Now, while you're here, side bending, hips stay on the floor, pelvis stays on the floor. Go ahead and bring your elbow forward and find a stretch along the back side body. It's along the latissimus dorsi. This is very different than this stretch, this just straight basic side bend stretch. This is the side bend. This is latissimus dorsi. Forward. You should feel it, the difference. Come back up to center and then come back. One more on the other side. Left arm up. Side bending, QL, right here. Good for the QL and many other things. And then bring your elbow forward and feel a stretch across the backside body. Oh my gosh. Come on back. We're out of time. So here's one thing I learned, come on, is that when I'm leading, when I'm this model, it takes more time to do things. So we have a lot of class left, but no time left. So go ahead and bring yourself down to the floor for Yoga Nidra, 61-point guided meditations. For the yoga teachers amongst us, I borrowed this from Anna at Divana Yoga, but she borrowed it from Swami Rama, founder of the Himalayan Institute, the International Institute of Yoga, Science, and Philosophy. Everyone lie down on your back. You can have your knees bent, your legs extended, or you can put a pillow under your knees with your legs extended, or you can also put a blanket over your body if you're in colder climates. You can also, put a washcloth over your eyes. I'm going to lead you through a 61-point guided meditation where you're going to pay attention, move your attention to the places that I mentioned. So breathing, beginning with your breath, breathing in and out, observing the abdomen as it rises and falls. And then bringing your awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, left knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This completes our 61-point guided meditation. Go ahead and start to bring your attention back to your body, back to the room. If you're lying down, then you may want to extend your arms over your head and extend your legs along the mat and stretch and create a little extra space between your rib cage and your pelvis. Wiggle and stretch and wiggle and stretch. Circle your ankles and your wrists. Hug your right knee to your chest and then your left. And both knees, hug both knees and rock from side to side. And then whenever you're ready, roll to one side. Use your bottom arm as a pillow and stay there for a breath or two, and then bring yourself up. To seated, that's to prevent vertigo or other dizziness. As you come up, you've got to take a little pause there. Bring yourself up, unmute yourself. I will cancel my spotlight. I will put my everything on. Good, 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 good. So let's close the class. Bring your hands to your heart. Maybe you want to press a little bit stronger on your hands. And then release that, release, keep your hands in prayer pose. Lift the base of your skull. Nod your skull over the top of your cervical. Bowing to each other, honoring each other, recognizing the light in each other, knowing that we're all one light. Close the class by saying to each other, Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank
Mama,
you.
you did really
I
You did a great job.
I want to say, I hope people, my speaker wasn't up. That might have been. Did
We heard you.
It was great, Mom.
But also there was what did you say?
The sound was really good, I thought.
Oh,
I did too.
okay, good. So I think that it was unstable. So I apologize. Not my fault. I'm going to stop the recording and people can stay or leave.